Today we're moving on in the study of the niyamas. So the next one is Svadhyaya, which is, in its simplest language, the study of the self. Um, I want to read you a quote rather than me ramble on. I'll read you a quote by the director of the Himalayan Institute. His name is Pandit Rajmani I don't know how to pronounce his name. Tugunit. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, he says, Savana or self-study means to reflect on oneself, to reflect on who we are, our true nature is, where we come from, what our purpose in being here is, how we relate to others, what our duties are in relation to others, what we did in the recent past and the consequences of that, what we're doing now, and what the future consequences might be, how fulfilling life is, and how the gifts are that we are given, and whether or not we will be able to leave this world with grace and dignity. So, encompasses a lot more than just navel gazing. I think a lot of times, one thing that I learned was that Svadhyaya without spiritual reflection is just an intellectual observation, that we really need to remember the spiritual qualities of looking inward instead of just, the more mind. So to combine the mind and the spirit in your self inquiry. And remember that all of the other niyamas and yamas kind of like precede or co-relate with this. That it's much easier to dive into a study of the self when we are not so numb, when we have started to train our minds to be alive and aware and awake a little bit more, and our bodies too. That when we have that opening and awareness, there's much more capacity for this self-reflection to exist. So I think of it like, going to therapy is a beautiful example of you could, in therapy, sit and try to analyze things from a very intellectual perspective, but then possibly you've tried some somatic therapy, or possibly you've tried some spiritual therapy around what you're thinking about in terms of self-study. So recognize that it's expansive, that we can do a lot of work with this, and that we have help, that you can do things like engage with other people, talk to your friends. You can be in therapy, psychotherapy of all sorts of kinds. You might be reading spiritual scriptures. You might be reading philosophy. There's just so many aspects of really studying the nature of the self. But the real key here is that we do it, that we don't just kind of go along the days and never do any internal reflection. So I think our yoga practice, as always, gives us opportunities. I know that I've had a lot of insight that shows up on my mat. I'm sure you have too. And it also just prepares our mind body for the deeper states of reflection, that we can kind of calm the chatter and we can calm the disturbances of mind and of body. Through our asana and pranayama and meditation practices. And then we have a little bit more bandwidth for this self-study. And we can maybe not only dive deeper, but dive broader, kind of reach outward into our awareness and our understanding more. Okay, so that's pretty much what Svadhyaya is all about. And then the last of the niyamas we'll talk about later in the week. And that's Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrendering all of these efforting, all of our efforting to a higher power. And we'll get a little more into that as well. So as you close your eyes and find a settled seat, recognize that if you never give yourself time for quiet, that self-study is very difficult. If you're always in distraction mode or busy mode, if you're always, moving outward, it's very difficult to really know self. So carving out time, dedicated time for inner reflection is so very important. So as you close your eyes and sit, recognize that even just sitting still like this is an opportunity. So as you ground and feel your way on the inside, what are you noticing? If you turn your attention towards studying the self, all the aspects of the self, what's the first thing that comes? How are you today? We ask that question of each other all the time, absently. How are you? It's not a real question. So think of it as a real question. How are you? See if you can begin connecting with the breath. Let the slowness of the inhale and the exhale start to modulate that disturbance that the mind likes to have. And see if you can just let the breath teach the mind body how to be, how to just be. Notice any tension that might be here and see what you could do to direct some ease into your body. Feel the crown grow a little taller and the spaciousness of the heart and lungs and the spaciousness of the spine start to find their way. Can you grow just a little bit more expansively taller and wider in all directions? Bring your hands together, and with this mudra, notice the concentrating effect of it. And as we start to explore the inner nature of what's happening within us right now, is there an intention that you'd like to pursue in your practice? And release your hands. Okay, pause here. Breathe into that intention and breathe out. All right. Let's go ahead and find our way onto our back. So as you stretch out and reach your body into space, today we're going to need a strap and some blankets. We're going to need some props. So just make sure you have your props handy. Okay. And as you come to lie down on your back, stretch out and lengthen here. Reach the arms overhead and find some good stretching, the right side and the left side, and just enjoy letting the body open and move. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. A little swaying might feel nice. Right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's roll around in your ankles and wiggle your toes and just get to know your feet. Move slowly. When we are looking for self-study, we can start with the body, perhaps. You know, our body is very available to us to notice. So, how are your feet today? Keep that knee snug up in, and let's cross the right knee over to the left and find a twist. It doesn't have to be your biggest twist ever. You can even stick a block under your knee if you'd like, whatever feels good. Find your breath. Notice how your breath is feeling today. When you first noticed your breath, and now, is it choppy? Is it smooth? Are you excited to breathe? Do the exhales come out easily? What's happening? And then draw that knee into the chest and give a nice compression. And then we'll switch sides. Have you touched into not only the physical body, but the emotional body yet today? How are your emotional states? When we think of those koshas of the body, we start with the physical body, and then we move deeper into the mind and into the emotions and into the spirit. So, how about your emotional states? How are you feeling today? Cross that left knee over to the right, and let's stretch open into a twist. Have you paid attention to any fluctuations in your mood? Have you paid attention to any ruminating thoughts that have been lingering about, and what do they tell you? And then go ahead and stretch back to a star. Reach your limbs wide. And let's roll your wrists and wiggle your fingers and roll your ankles and wiggle your toes. Take a deep breath in. Hold your in-breath and squeeze your body, all your muscles. And then exhale and relax. Bring your knees into your chest. Pick up your head. A snug squeeze. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all your air out. Hold that tuck and squeeze your exhale. Hold it. Squeeze all your muscles. And then release your head back down onto the ground. Arms out to the side like a T. And let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. All right, so try to pay attention. Our yoga practice is discipline of paying attention. And the more we can pay attention to the body, the more we'll start to notice the mind and the emotions, and then eventually even the spirit. Okay, let's take a strap and wrap it around our right foot and lift it straight up into the air. Left foot can be bent, or left knee can be bent with left foot on the ground, or you can straighten your leg, your choice. All right, so have a moment to just feel your way here. We're going to go a little deeper into this practice, into hamstring and lengthening today. We're going to do some forward folding today. So let's just get things a little warmed up here. Feel free to have a little bit of movement. You can rock your straight leg forward and back, or you can bend your knee and then straighten it, and bend your knee and then straighten it. Just kind of find a little bit of movement within what you're doing. And then maybe have your legs straight up, and we'll flex and point the foot here a few times. And you can add a point in there if you want. Just kind of zing up the back of the leg. All right, we'll take the strap into 2 feet now. We'll do this pose again later where we'll move out to the sides, but for right now, just kind of sensing, what did that little bit of stretching do for the right side? How does it feel different from the left when both legs are in the air? Lengthen the spine, notice the spine, and then we'll take our right foot down onto the ground and keep the left foot up in the air. And we'll begin with some movement in this leg, perhaps some movement forward and back with straight leg, perhaps some bending into the knee and lengthening that foot straight up. Just kind of find just a subtlety of movement, whichever kind feels best for your hamstrings. All right, and then pause there for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. The head is long, and we'll start to find some movement in our foot. So flexing and pointing, and maybe pointing the toes. Just see if you can open up the back of the calf a little bit, the Achilles. Let a little zing kind of go up your leg. And then again, 2 feet into the strap and lengthen the spine. We'll root down to rise up through those feet. And then take the strap, keep off, but keep the legs up there in the air. And we'll just have a moment to start to ignite our core. Maybe your arms come overhead, maybe they're down at your sides. And we'll very slowly lower your legs down. The minute you feel like your back gives way and you lose your core's ability to stabilize this, you want to bend your knees. You don't want to alter, you don't want to compromise your back. And once you get down there, stretch your sides again, reaching one side, reaching the other. And then we'll find our way rolling onto our side and come up to our hands and our knees. As you begin with some cat-cows, take a little time to notice your spine. How are you moving? See if you can pay attention as you go. Train your mind to pay attention. So we're arching and rounding and we're breathing and we're enjoying the movement of the spine. And then any kind of movement that you want. It doesn't have to just be cat-cows. Make sure you're breathing through your movements. Right, and then we'll settle back toward a child's pose and drop your hips back toward your heels. Stretch your arms far out in front of you and enjoy the length that you have here. Breathing deeply and fully. Let's walk our hands over to one side. So see if you can feel that sensing of openness through the side of your body. Touch into something on the inside. Try to feel something on the inside of your body. Okay, walk your hands over to the other side. And we begin the self-study with just the physical body, recognizing how our patterns live in our body, our movement patterns, our tension patterns. What traumas do you hold and where are they living and how do they show up? What joys do you hold and where are they living and how do they show up? Let's come up onto all fours again. Curl the toes under and settle back toward a child's pose with your feet turned under. So we're opening the bottom of our feet and maybe a little bit of movement of tapping your ankles and then separating them and tapping your ankles and separating them. And then relax that and maybe give your feet a little bit of a tap on the ground. Reaching the left arm up in the air, let's roll our wrists. Drop that shoulder down. Try not to be mindless in your actions, but to be very mindful in your actions. This is the physical aspect of Svadhyaya, paying attention to what is happening right now. Inhale, bring that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. We'll switch sides, arm lifted. Let's roll your wrists a little bit. Find some movement. And then exhale to drop that shoulder down. Gazing toward the ground, let your eyes rest. Breathing fully. And when you feel ready, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground and we'll find a dog pose. As you lift up to a dog pose, take a little time to pedal your feet. Okay. drop into one foot and then drop into the other. Maybe you're kind of rocking from left to right and kneading the floor a little bit with your hands and your feet. Maybe you're pedaling and spending a little time with your heel all the way down. And the next time you drop a heel, as you drop the heel and touch, see if you can bend that same knee a little bit. Get into the soleus muscle that's underneath our big calf muscle. And then do the other side. Heel down, bend that same knee a little bit so you get a slightly different calf stretch. And then find your way into the fullness of this pose, reaching through your body. Yield into the earth. How are you? What are you noticing? All right, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Forward fold, relax your head. Shimmy if you like. And we'll have some movement here. A halfway lift, extending, opening through the spine. Exhaling to release and melt. Let's do that twice more. Inhale for a halfway. The spine gets long, the sit bones lift, the legs straighten. Exhale, bend your knees, lengthen your spine down. One more time. Feel that openness through your backs of your legs, your spine. Exhale and melt. And pay attention here. What's the angle of your pelvis doing? So try to lift the tail so that we're spilling the spine forward. Let the sacrum follow the spine. Breathing well. All right, this time we'll stay for a moment. So a halfway lift, maybe hands on blocks. If you always have your hands on your legs, try your hands on your blocks for this one. And pedal your feet a little bit here. Keep the heart expanding open. Maybe one hip stretches back and then the other. Just kind of find what's available in your hip joints. And then we'll pause into this half Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana. So shoulder blades down the back. Ground the four corners of your feet. Stretch open the backs of the knees without pushing them back. Lift the sit bones and still tip the tail slightly. By tip the tail, I mean up toward the sky. Lengthen the spine. Ground all four corners of your feet again. And then we'll release and bend your knees and soften your waterfall spine downward. Push through your feet, rising up. Bring the arms to the sky. Feel that extension. Open up here. Lift the heart. Let's get engaged with the back body. Spread your wings, collarbones broad. Cactus your arms. Squeeze through the back of your body. Pause here. Breathe here. Squeeze here. And then inhale, reaching the arms back up. And we'll swan dive forward. And halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Exhale to melt back down. Step back to a dog pose. Feel that extension in your body again, reaching high, root to rise. How are you? How is your breath? What are you noticing? Come forward into a plank. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and feel that grounding into the earth. Push the ground away. Feel that stability in your body. And then we'll put our knees down onto the ground and find the earth. Roll the shoulders a little bit here. Get your shoulder blades loosening up. And then we'll lift to a cobra pose. Open chest. Exhale. Relaxing back down. Twice more. Inhale. Rising up. Exhale. Lowering down. Find that rhythm of your breath moving you. Elbows back as you come on up. And release to melt back down. Up on tall fours. Move around in your spine again. And then we'll drop our hip way over to the side. And we'll drop our hip way over to the other side. And then stretch back toward a child's pose. Walk the hands out in front of you and find your breath. Enjoy melting your head down. When you feel ready, lift to a dog pose again. A full extension in the body. Breathe well here. We'll lift our right leg up and stack open the hip. Feel that engagement. And as you hug your heel toward your hip or toward your glutes, engage. Engage your glutes, engage your hamstring. And then we'll square that leg up and feel the change when we have balance through our pelvis. We're even now. It's a little harder in some ways. Keep lifting the left hip high. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, knee to your right elbow. Inhale, bring it up. Knee to your left. Bring it on up. Bring that foot through, come to a lunge. Ground yourself. Put your back knee on the earth for a moment so that you can stretch open through the hip flexor well on that side. Lift the heart. All right, and then we'll lift the back knee up off the ground and start to find some movement of bending and straightening the front foot. Okay, we're finding our way into some mobility here with the breath. Ground yourself. We're going to take a crescent lunge and then come into a twist. So rise up, find your breath, and twist to the right. Inhale, rise back up, and hang out here for a moment. Shoulder blades down, reach upward, extend and lengthen, maybe look up, challenge your balance. Exhale, release the hands down. Bring your arms back behind you. Stay low now. Press your front foot deep into the ground. Engage through your hamstring and your glute on that side well. Start to fire it up. And then we'll bring our hands down and walk our back foot forward. Fold. A halfway lift, extend. Exhale. And relax. Step back to a dog pose. Breathing deeply here. Root to rise. Find that symmetry through your legs. When you're ready, we'll lift the left leg up and start with it opening up. Lengthen navel to knee. Hug that heel in a little closer to your glutes. You're turning on your glutes. And then square up the hips again. Reach that leg back. Straighten up your pelvis. Right hip lifts high. Deep breath in. Knee to your chest on your exhale. Inhale, bring it back up to your left elbow. Inhale, back to the sky, to the right elbow. Inhale, bring it back up. Bring that foot forward, come to a lunge. Place your back knee onto the ground. Pause here for a moment. Enjoy your hip flexor stretch. Come into a deep lunge. Open up through your heart. Okay. We'll bring our hands down, curl your toe under, find your way to a full lunge with your back knee off the floor. Begin to bend and straighten the front knee. We're breathing here. We're breathing here. Slow your practice down a little bit. Stay in the body. Train your mind to pay attention. Train your mind to move away from distraction so that you can see clearly. This is the beginning stages of that self-study, learning how to see clearly. Ground yourself, push through the feet, rising up. Reaching the arms to the sky, we'll come to a twist. Inhale, arms back up. Pause here for a moment and just enjoy the pose. Press your front foot down, open up the heart, look up, see what that feels like. And then we'll release our hands down. Press your front foot into the ground. We'll reach our arms back, stay low, and engage through your glutes and your hamstrings on that front leg strongly. All right, release the hands down, back to a dog pose. Feeling the breath. Root down. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Push the ground away. Collarbones widening. Let's put our knees down. If you need, find the earth. Bring your arms back next to you. Palms facing down to the ground. Inhale and lift everything you can up off the ground. Neck is long, breath is deep. Engage both sides of your pelvis. Engage your glutes, engage your hamstrings, the soles of the feet even. And then exhale. Then relax. Flip over onto your back for a moment. We'll do a full bridge pose. So ground your feet, drop your shoulders, pay attention. How are you? Have a full breath before we lift up so you are deeply grounded to move into this pose. When you're ready, all four corners of your feet root and we lift on up. Engage the open heart. Press your arms down. Press all four corners of your feet. And then let's even a little bit extra than the all four corners pressing down. Drag your feet toward your hips. And just feel that full body engagement on the back side. Are you even? Do your left and right do the same or no? All right, and then relax and melt your pelvis back down. Windshield wiper your knees, lefty righty. And we'll roll to our side and come up. Come into the right foot forward, left foot back, a shorter stance. So Parsvottanasana legs. Okay, so find your way up. It might be through a dog pose. Maybe you just find your way. Square the pelvis, hands on blocks. Begin to extend through the heart. Roll the inner thighs back. Root the feet down. Find your breath. All right, press your front heel and drag it back. So there's some engagement in that hamstring. And then reach your heart forward. And then come on up and push through your feet, rising. I know we haven't done a ton of twisting to prepare for a deep twist like this, but let's try. So we'll reach the left arm up, extend, open up, reach forward. Maybe you stack one block on top of the other for a revolved triangle pose. Maybe one block is enough for you. Kind of just sense what it is that you need. Find your breath. Root down through your front big toe and reach the hip back. Wide sit bones and lift the tail. Full breaths here. And then we'll come all the way back down. Walk your back foot forward. Come to Uttanasana and bend your knees and just allow your body to soften into this pose. A halfway lift, getting broader and bigger, longer. Exhale and release. Step your right foot back. Shorten up your stance. We're in Parsvottanasana. Lengthen through your spine. You can always come up if you feel like you need to get to the pose from up here, that's fine. So just kind of find your best way. Squaring the pelvis, root down through the left big toe and really your whole left foot. Pull the hip back. Reach the femur bone up into the hip socket. Squaring the pelvis, widen the sit bones and lift the tail. Feel a slight inner spiral of the thighs. Extend the spine. Try not to crank on the neck. So look down and forward instead of up. How's your breathing? All right, push through your feet, rising up. And we'll take Parsva or Pavrita Trikonasana. Reach the right arm up. Extend, lengthen it forward, maybe on one block, maybe on two blocks. Ground your legs. Organize your legs and pelvis before you twist. Reaching the heart long. Start to twist when you're ready. Those inner thighs are rolling back. The whole outer hip of that left leg is reaching backwards. So we're not letting that hip hike out or forward, but we're drawing the left hip in and back. How was your breath? All right, release the hands down. Let's find a dog pose. Stretching back and lengthening the body. Symmetry, balance. All right, and then you might want to take your feet off the mat or turn sideways on your mat. So we're in a nice wide-legged stance. Opening up those inner hamstrings now a little bit more. Maybe bending into one knee and then bending into the other knee. Just kind of find what feels good here. Maybe a little bend in both knees for a moment. And then we'll straighten the legs. And if you want to put your head on a block or dangle it, you can have your hands in between your feet or like dog pose arms or forearms on the ground. So many choices. Find the variation of this forward fold that feels good to you. Engage your quads. Lift the tail. Broaden the feet. Dangle the spine. How's the breath? All right, we're gonna come back out of there to a dog pose. Feel, this is the forward fold that we always do. Every practice, just about, we do a dog pose. So enjoy the evenness of the dog pose, the fact that it's a forward bend and an inversion. Ground. And then we'll find our way to a child's pose. Bend your knees, relax the backs of your legs. Soften, maybe your arms are down at your sides, so we're not stretching the back body any longer, but just melting and softening. All right, if it's comfortable to sit up on your heels, do so. Otherwise, grab a block and sit on the block for a moment in Virasana. Your choice of how you are. Just pause here for a moment. Feel the grounding of your legs. Open through your breath. Slow your mind down. Right, and then we'll find our way onto our back and grab your strap again. Okay, so coming on to into the same pose we did earlier, just we're going to do all three positions of Supta Padangusthasana. Okay, so remember, strap is around your right foot, but your left foot can be on the floor or your left leg can be on the floor. So knee bent or knee straight, your choice. Root down and notice the length of the spine. Relax something. Everything here on out is going to be on the ground, so give way. Allow your body to start finding the comfort of the earth. All right, let's open the leg to the right. So hold the strap in the right hand. Round through your left leg on the earth. Melt into the skull. Breathing here. Lift that leg up. And we'll cross the right leg over to the left. Hand on the top of the femur bone if you'd like it to press away. If not, you can open your arm up to a twist. Maybe turn your head in that position. Maybe keep your head straight up so you're really focusing on what the outer hamstring and glutes are doing. All right, inhale, lift that leg up in the air and slowly lower your leg down. Pause. Enjoy a moment of Shavasana. All right, now take the strap onto the left foot. And again, you can have your right foot on the ground with your knee bent or your right leg straight. Experiment. Do both for a moment. Put your foot up, put your foot down, and notice your pelvis. What is going to help you maintain the stability of your pelvis? Okay. Drop the sit bone down and reach the heel up. Relax your shoulders and feel the length of your spine. Okay, we'll take the strap into the left hand and open up the left leg out to the left. If your knee is bent, your right knee, you can roll the knee out to the right, kind of balance the pelvis. Otherwise, press into the ground with your leg, your hip, your ribs. How's your breathing? And then lift that leg up in the air. Let's cross left leg over to right. Maybe the heel of your left hand presses the left hip away. Maybe it doesn't. Just kind of find what feels good. Melting through your skull. That leg straight back up and lower your legs down. Just notice. Rolling to your side. And we'll get into a couple of seated forward folds. First, a twist. Take your knees or feet over to the left and twist to the right. Or, yeah, the opposite. If whatever side you're doing, we'll do both. Okay, and you can lean forward and put your hands down. You can put the more traditional way, put your hand on your knee and twist open. Just kind of find what your body's looking for. Okay, and then come back to center. And we'll bring our feet over to the other side, and you decide how deep you go into this twist. then come back to center. If you like, I know I do, to sit up on the edge of a blanket, you can grab a blanket and then grab your strap. You might need a block for Janu Shirshasana. So we're going to wrap our strap around the right foot. If your left knee doesn't feel comfortable, you can always stick a block underneath your left knee. There's lots of ways to support yourself. If you're using a blanket, have the edge of your sit bones, up on the blanket so there's a slight anterior tilt to the pelvis. Remember in the beginning when we were doing that Uttanasana where you let your pelvis kind of tip and waterfall along with your spine? We want that same feeling. We want our pelvis to anterior tilt in this pose. So we want our tail to lift slightly and spill the pelvis forward. And then engage your core a little bit. So the spilling doesn't mean sinking, but it just means tipping the pelvis in that direction, igniting the core to help you lift and lengthen the spine. You can have one hand on a block or the ground next to your leg and the other hand on the strap, or two hands on the strap. Find your breath. Try not to collapse in the pose, but we're finding length, finding breath. Okay, come back up. Then we'll take the strap into the other hand. So we're wrapping the left foot now with the strap, and we'll take a block under our right knee if we need it. Only if you need it. You don't have to have a block there, but if your knee feels vulnerable, it's a good support. Feel the strap around your foot so that you can reach, you can pull on the strap to draw your elbows back to help you lift your spine. Engage your core a bit, tip the pelvis forward, ground your leg, and find your way into the pose. Lengthening forward. You can have a hand on the ground or a block, or two hands on the strap, your choice. There's an ever so slight twist in this pose. We're turning our torso toward our leg. Reach and extend. Flex your foot, ground your leg. How's your breath? Okay, come back up. We're going to take our legs wide apart now, Upavista Konasana. Grab your blocks and we'll stack them so that you have some support to move forward with. Root down. Now, if you feel like this is a lot, you can even put blocks under your knees so that your knees can stay bent, or rolled towels or blankets. Hands could be behind you to lift if that feels good in your body. We're still on the edge of the blanket. And then if you feel comfortable, if your body's open enough for it, you can come forward. You could come forward by stacking your blocks, putting your elbows on blocks, and putting your head on your hands. You could come forward by going a little deeper and putting your head directly on blocks. So kind of just find the depth that's right for you. Root down through your legs, flex your feet, lengthen your spine. Melt. Support your head in some way. And then give yourself the opportunity to release into that. When you're ready, come back up. Take the soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. Okay, lift your spine, heels are close in, and we'll come forward with a long spine. And then if you'd like, drop your head and just let a little bit of softness occur. Feel free to press your elbows into your knees. Back up. Crisscross your legs, like sitting cross-legged. Let's take a simple twist here. Reaching left arm up, bring it to the right knee and twist. Hand is behind you on the ground or on a block to support. Back to center and switch to the other side. How's the breath? All right, coming back to center. The last of the forward folds we'll do is pigeon pose. So take your support and make sure you have something to rest your head upon. We're going to do this pose with a deep headrest. Of course, you can do a reverse pigeon pose if that's better for your body. Right leg is in front, left leg behind. Feel that extension. First, lift up so you feel the spaciousness and length in your heart, and then we'll come down. So, of course, this is a big hip stretch, but see if you can feel the melting of the forward fold that you've been finding. See if you can find it here. How's your breathing? Rise back up when you're ready and transfer to the other side. You can do a dog pose in between if your body really loves to transition that way. However you like to transition is great. Take any support that you need. Don't assume this side is the same as the other. Once you get into the pose, we'll lengthen upward and feel that expansiveness, and then find your way down. And melt here. Breathing fully, breathing deeply. Relax. How are you? Where's your mind going? Are you noticing something about yourself? We'll find our way back up and come onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit, swaying from side to side, nice and easy. when you're ready, straighten your legs. You can get any support that you need for Shavasana. If there's anything else calling to you, go ahead and do it. As you get comfortable and find, the right position for your body right now, give yourself a moment to find your breath again, and then consciously melt into the ground. Notice your body. Scan and pay attention to what you feel right now. Suspend thought as best as you can and return over and over to the breath and body. All right, when you feel ready, let's begin to move a little bit. Put your feet on the ground. Ground the soles of your feet. Feel the symmetry in your pelvis, and maybe do the teeniest bit of back bend in this position, just the smallest little bit of spinal curve. Ground your feet and then relax your spine. Have a big breath in, a big breath out, and we'll roll to our side. Pause there for a moment. And then gently, slowly bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. All right, let's take a moment as we bring our hands back together to offer our practice. When we know ourselves, we are much more aware of the things that unsettle us, that trigger us. We're much more aware of our capacity to calm ourselves and offer ourselves. So never underestimate the power of self-study to help you be the best that you can be in the world. Let's offer the best of our energy outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.